What's going on, guys? This is Sean Michael McCaddy, and today I'm back at you with another quick and easy tutorial how to use animations within Adobe Premiere Pro using keyframes. So in media production, a keyframe is a location on a timeline which marks the beginning or end of a transition. It holds special information that defines where a transition should start or stop. The intermediate frames are interpolated over time between those definitions to create the illusion of motion. So that's really the basis of what a keyframe is and how it works to create an animation between a certain set of keyframes. So let's get started here. First of all, you want to get an object that you want to animate. So I'm going to animate this Google Play. I've actually already done the animation, but I'm going to use this one as the demonstration. So I've selected my object, and I'll just show you the quick clip that I'm going to be, or that I did on my last video. That's just a simple subscribe overlay that pops out, and the links to my social media pop out from the butt.
Don't touch the Nemo!
He touched the butt.
Or the bottom. Sorry. And so I basically selected the Google Play button, which is what I'm going to be showing you how to animate. And I'm going to, once you click on it, go over to the effects control, which will give you all of the factors and percentages and stuff. And you just want to expand your timeline, because when you're doing keyframes, you want a big working area. You don't want to confine space, because you're going to be going into the frame, so you really need to get a lot of space between these amount of frames, because this is not a lot of time. This is in seconds. So if I have a small timeline to play with, it's really hard to be moving the keyframes to the right spot. So expand that thing open, get more work room, and let's get to it. So once you've gotten to here, these little dots are basically what are keyframes, and again, these are just certain factors or percentages of whatever you've selected. So this is the position on the X and Y scale, or sorry, the coordinates on the X and Y scale, which you can use keyframes to manipulate different percentages. I don't know what units these are in, but say this one's at 1248. If I change it to a different number further or before this keyframe, it's actually going to manipulate and make an animation between the last units and the current units further down the timeline. So it was at 2043 before, and as I move up on the keyframe down the timeline, it's going to change to 1248. Which then just did a quick animation of this extending out of the video onto the screen. So just like that, the YouTube button just animated out just by using these keyframes. So again, these are just certain factors, percentages, whatever units that are changing at that certain frame. So say I wanted to move 5 frames ahead, so I'd use the arrow key to go forward 5 frames, or 5, and I wanted to animate it doing, I don't know, I'm going to change the scale. So to change the scale, you're going to have to insert a keyframe. So to insert a keyframe, if you don't have this already selected, you're going to have to go over to this little stopwatch thing, which is a toggle animation. So you just want to select that, and now you can insert keyframes down your timeline for this factor. So right now it's at 21%, or whatever that unit measurement is. And now this is exactly where I want it to start animating. So I want the scale to start now going up. So now I'm going to go down another, say, 5 frames, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm going to change the scale to, let's say, 35%. And now this is the new coordinate, or the new percentage that I want it to be at down the timeline. So now where the old keyframe was is going to be the old coordinate, or the old percentage, and this coordinate, or this keyframe, is going to be the new size, or the scale I want it to be at. It's going to animate to that position. So here it was before, and there it is after. See how it just animated there? So play that over again. And I don't know why I would ever want that as an animation. This was just for tutorial sake. And I say I wanted to animate that back down to the normal size. Well, I got to figure out the last size, obviously. So it was at 21% before. Now I want it to animate back down. So I'm going to have to go to where I want it to start. Remember, to do an animation, you have to have a starting point. Because if I just go here and just say I want it to go back to 21% back at the original percentage, it's actually going to go from this percentage, and during this entire moment it's going to start slowly going back down to 21%. But I don't want that. I want it to stay at this certain scale, and then I want it to shrink down. So if I just did it like this, when I'm back at 21%, now it's going to go from 35 or 30, yeah, 35%, and it's going to slowly move down, which is not what I want. I want it to, again, be the same size all the way up until here. So now I'm going to have to come here to where I want it to start scaling back down. And I'm going to have to press the add keyframe button, which is this. And that adds a keyframe at this percentage. And now let's say I want to move ahead 5 frames. And then I want to change it back down to 21%. And that's going to scale it back. And it's going to have this whole time staying at 35%. So you see that I had to make 2 keyframes to make it manipulate to a different scale, so that it doesn't slowly scale down, as you can see what just happened here. So, and it scales back down. So that's basically the basis of doing keyframes. And I can do that on anything. Opacity is one that I use a lot. That's how I kind of fade in and out of scenes or something like that. So I wanted the opacity to change now. So again, the selector, or the toggle animation selector, is on, as you can see, because I do have the keyframe selection. And I want the opacity to go down to 60%. So again, where I want it to start is where I'm going to insert a keyframe at that same percentage as where the last keyframe was. So we're going to select one, and it's going to be from 100% all the way up until this keyframe right here. And then we're going to change it down, let's say this many frames away, and we're just gonna, you can either select another keyframe or you can just change the actual percentage, and it's gonna insert a keyframe regardless. So I'm gonna change that to 60%, and now the YouTube play button has now animated down to 60% opacity. So now we've had an animation that goes, extends out, and then enlarges, scales down, and then fades away. So I would never use that on my video, but it was just for tutorial sake how to explain how to use the keyframe. So kind of confusing. I hope I explained that well enough for some of you guys, but that's how you do it for any kind of coordinate, or even say you have a color that you want to rotate between, red, like the rainbow, or something you want to go between the rainbow colors. You would have to set a keyframe at that certain color, and then use another keyframe to a different color down a scrolling color wheel or something like that to manipulate the colors going around the color scale. So we can go over that in a different tutorial if you guys are interested, getting into keyframes a little further detailed than that. But I hope that helped you guys, and if it did, please smash that subscribe button, like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it. Hit up my Patreon if you want to support me to do more videos like this. And other than that, I'd hope to see you next video. Peace.